I think the Chancellor has been steadfast, and I think the reason that he's sticking to the course that he plotted is that there's an intellectual and a moral justification for what the Chancellor is doing. The reason why our economy was in deep trouble is essentially we had been living beyond our means and indulging in a level of public expenditure and also racking up private debt at a scale which fundamentally meant that when there was a financial crisis, we were not in a position to be resilient, we couldn't protect the vulnerable, we couldn't ensure that we could grow in the future. So what we need to do is to make sure that the private sector, the wealth-creating part of the economy, has a chance to grow again. Emily mentioned unemployment. It's been the case that there have been more than 1 million new jobs that have been created in Britain over the course of the time the government's been in power. And those jobs have been created in the private sector. The changes that have been made to taxation this week are deliberately designed to reward people who want to work. The changes to childcare are there to encourage people who have the opportunity and the desire to enter the world of work as well. The changes that we're making to housing are not only going to ensure that the builder that Emily talked about, who was picking his teeth, will be contributing to ensuring that there are more people who have a home to buy. It will also give people the opportunity to own property and to feel that they're once again part of an economy that is growing, part of a society that values their desire to get on.
Okay. Let's just hear from some members of the audience. The woman in the fourth row there.
I studied AS Economics, and I know from studying at that level that you need to invest to encourage growth. Absolutely. And we are not investing. Absolutely. So how can we get out of this? And we know we're not growing. It's a declining growth.
All right, and the man up there on the gangway, you, sir.
Michael Gove just mentioned childcare, but the tax breaks that they're going to introduce for childcare is not going to happen for another 2.5 years. Exactly. What are we going to do in between times to these poor parents who are struggling to find the money to be able to pay for their childcare?
All right. And we go to the woman at the very back there, just get a few more points. Yes.
I'd just like to know who Michael Gove, as a politician, thinks is living beyond their means.
Yes. Who do you think is living beyond their means?
Well, I think that it was manifestly the case that there were lots of us in this country who were being encouraged to acquire levels of debt privately, which matched the levels of debt that the government were building up, which were unsustainable. We as a nation, collectively, were living beyond our means, and that's why we're facing the difficult decisions that we have to take now. Whoever happens to be in power, it's a coalition government, if it were Labour, if it were the Greens, there would be impossibly difficult decisions to take, which would involve, recognising that public expenditure has to be brought back under control. The lady in I think the fourth row made the point that investment generates growth. It's investment from the private sector which will generate growth. Investment from the public sector will ultimately only lead.
But Michael, they're not investing.
They are. That's why we've got. That's why we've got. That's why we've had. No, that's why we've had more than 1 million new jobs being created. That's why the number of businesses.
What kind of jobs are those, Michael? What kind of jobs are those? They're largely part-time. They're largely insecure. No. I mean, it's good that we're getting some jobs.
Well, thank you. You can patronise people because it's a part-time job, but frankly, Emily, it is more important to get people into work rather than to have them languishing on the dole. It is more important, as business organisations that welcomed the budget said, to ensure that we get that investment going. It's more important to have a tax rate, which KPMG pointed out this week, makes this the most competitive country in the world.
What do you say?
These are all the foundation stones for growth.
Mark Littlewood.